When I was in high school, I worked really hard academically so that way I could hopefully get scholarships so that way I could go to Texas Tech University. And I graduated high school with a 3.9, but I didn't get scholarships. Now looking back, I can tell you why I believe that God didn't allow me to get those scholarships. I got to Texas Tech University. At that time, my life was all about my grades. There was one day I just felt like, I'm gonna use the word off. I'm not gonna say that's what it was, but that's the word. And I was like, well, maybe I just need to go, take a run or something. So I went to the rec center, and whatever I was experiencing, I cannot shake it off. And to be honest, now I can say that what I was feeling was emptiness. I felt very empty. And yes, my family loved me, my friends loved me. I was just empty. And I remember I took a songwriting class at Texas Tech, and I remember there was a woman in our class, and she had written some songs. And I went up to her and, I'd asked about, her faith and, what church she went to. And, she invited me to the church that she was checking out at the time. And I went to that church, and I don't remember how long that I was at the church that I decided to accept Christ as my Lord and Savior and to get baptized. Having a relationship with God is so much more than heaven. It's about being healed and about being a blessing to other people. So when I graduated in August of 2007, I was hoping to live the American dream, meaning that, I got that job and I got that car and I got the apartment and the boyfriend, and then life was like happily ever after. And that's not how life works. So when I graduated, that's when the economy started to go down, and I found a temporary job. And then after I worked that job, I was unemployed. And in order for me to get an unemployment check, I had to do 5 job searches a week. When I was looking for jobs, I found a mental health specialist in the Army. And when I saw that, I was like, that sounds cool, but that also sounds really scary because it's the military. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the Career Center. I'm just gonna ask questions. That's all that's gonna be for me. And then I'll just see. So I went to the recruiter's office. He told me, we can start the paperwork process for you to join the Army, and up to a certain point, if you decide that you don't wanna do it, then, that'll be all right. And I told the recruiter that, I would go think about it, and then, I'd come back tomorrow and I'd give him an answer. So I remember I went home and I prayed about it, and I felt like God was like, you're gonna be okay. And there was times when I was in the military I didn't feel okay, but I was okay. And I remember my mom asked me, so what did you decide to do? And I told my mom that I was gonna join the Army, and she's like, that's what I believe that you're gonna do. When I joined the Army, besides needing a job and wanting to help people, I remember telling God, I was like, well, I want to understand, what service members, what veterans have been through. And I think God wanted me to understand that. But I can say that I don't regret joining the military. I don't regret trusting God, because that's what He wanted for me. And it helped me understand why certain service members of veterans were going through what they were going through. They say 22 veterans, die by suicide a day. When I was in the Army, I was gonna say it was my second Christmas. My first sergeant had, told us we had a suicide in our battalion. And it was somebody that I knew. My one regret with my friend is that, I took it for granted that he was gonna be okay. What I wish I would have said, not to say that he still would have been alive today had I said it, but it's just the fact that, I didn't say it, was gone up to him and said, I just want you to know that I'm here for you. And, there's no guarantees that he'd be here today, but had I said that, maybe. I don't blame myself. But, now I know not to take people for granted, because that's what I did. And I think that's what a lot of us do. We just assume, because sometimes that's all a veteran, a service member needs, is somebody to listen and want to hear their story, want to understand what was going on. And if that particular veteran or service member wants help, then, you know, how to help them. A majority of service members did not feel comfortable to talk about their struggles. And that's one of the reasons why you hear about the suicide attempts or the suicides in the military. We need to feel like it's okay to talk about stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't feel very safe in the Army to talk about those things. And a lot of people in the military don't want to be seen as weak, and so they don't speak up. And that's what the issues are. Nobody's speaking up. And that's one of the reasons why I'm, you know, a part of this film, is because I want, you know, service members and veterans to know it's okay to speak up. And I want the community, you know, to know that, you know, be there to listen, be there to support, because a lot of times people do lack support. So I was in the military for 4 years. I got out in March of 2016, and I wanted to work for a veteran organization. With my current job, I work at American GI Forum, National Veterans Outreach Program. What I want people to take away from my story is that you can have plans for your life, and they may be good plans. Like, I'm gonna take you to the Army and I'm gonna help you get through it. You don't think you're gonna get through it. You think I'm just asking you to do something, but I have a purpose for you. And that's the thing, we all have a purpose, and sometimes our purpose is gonna involve a lot of pain, but we just have to trust God and go through it. And then at the end, He's gonna show you why you went through what you went through, and it's not just for you, but it's to be a blessing to other people. Because joining the Army was not a dream of mine. It was not a goal. It was not a backup plan. But I think that's the cool thing about God. You can want something good, like in my case, I wanted to help people, but I would have never thought that God was gonna want me to help, you know, veterans and service members, and I myself am a veteran. And I think another reason why He had me join the Army was because that's where He wanted me. He wanted me to help that community, and to this day I continue to help the community. And it's because God's like, what you have for you is not what I have for you. But trust me, you're gonna get a blessing too. But I love how God speaks to me, and I love how He works. I'm Samantha, and that's my story unfolded.